Welcome to another story made by Oracle 1. The sun hung low in the sky, bleeding hues of gold and amber across the dense woods that skirted the hamlet of Elderwood. The air was thick with the scent of pine and moss, a fragile peace enveloping the village nestled within this ancient forest. But on this evening, the serenity was abruptly pierced by an uncanny event that would awaken memories long buried and reshape destinies. From the shadowed tree line stepped a woman whose very presence stirred the winds. Her hair was like strands of silver moonlight cascading over shoulders clothed in tattered deep green garments that whispered of bygone travels. Her steps faltered, uncertain as she entered Elderwood's clearing, her eyes clouded with confusion and a haunting blankness. She knew not the path that led her here, nor the face she bore, save for an aching emptiness where her memories should have lived. Her skin carried the faint glow of something otherworldly, but her gaze was clouded in mortal uncertainty. As the villagers caught sight of her, a hush fell, the bustle fading into uneasy silence. The stranger's arrival was rare enough, but it was what followed that broke this quiet like a crack in the earth. From deep within the forest emerged a pack of wolves, their fur ruffled with flecks of moonlight and shadow. Their eyes were sharp, intelligent, and something more: recognition, devotion, reverence. And then, piercing the twilight, rose their howls, long and mournful, carrying a single name on the wind as if their voices were bound to it. Lythera. Lythera? The woman's frozen form shuddered, her lips trembling before parting to whisper, Lythera? The name seemed to stir something buried in her soul, a faint ember of familiarity glowing in the void. The pack circled her, not threatening, but protective. The villagers, their curiosity overcome by reverence and fear, whispered among themselves of legends that spoke of a wolf maiden, a guardian spirit who protected their woods a century ago. Could this woman be she? The stories said the wolf maiden's spirit was bound to the wolves, and those who dared harm Elderwood's forest would answer to her wrath. One weathered elder, his face carved by decades of hardship and wisdom, stepped forward. His voice was soft yet carried the weight of ancient knowledge. You are she, aren't you? Lythera, the wolf maiden, the protector of these woods. But why do you not remember? Lythera, the woman, looked towards the gray-haired man struggling to see through the haze of amnesia clouding her mind. I do not know who I am anymore, she said, voice trembling. Only these howls. They call me home. The wolves howled again, a chorus filled with urgency and hope. The villagers watched as their mysterious guardian took first hesitant steps towards the village center, guided by the pack who moved as if their shadows were intertwined with hers. The elder motioned for the villagers to clear way, recalling the old rites and songs that were sung to honor Lythera during her quiet reign when she was fully awake and aware. It was said that Lythera was once a woman of both wolf and human blood, banished from the distant northern highlands, only to be embraced by the forest's power and the wild spirits of the wolves. She was neither fully beast nor fully human but a bridge, a guardian. As the night deepened, strange dreams swept over the villagers. They dreamed of roaring fires, dense forests where wolves roamed like lords of the shadows, and a woman with eyes glowing silver, commanding storms and shadows. The dreams spoke of betrayal, love, loss, and a curse severing her memory. Somewhere between the dreams and reality, Lythera's presence was felt in every rustle of leaf and every distant howl. The morning sun drew soft lines of light over Elderwood when Lythera awoke, not in the village but on the verge of the forest's ancient heart, a place whispered to be the realm of the old magic she once wielded. Around her, the wolves lay with eyes closed but ears alert. Her mind was still a tangle of mist and confusion, but the pull of the land was undeniable. The trees swayed as though bowing in respect, the air hummed with an old melody. Hot tears of frustration streaked her cheeks as fragments of memory flickered. A face smiling, a hand offering a wolf's fur cloak, a voice whispering her true name not as curse but as blessing. Lythera, child of the wild, remember who you are. As she rose, the wolves rallied to her side once more. The pack was no ordinary assembly. They were descendants of the original wolves bound to her soul, under a pact forged between human and spirit bloodlines centuries before. They were her sentinels, her family, and her reminders of an identity she had lost to the labyrinth of time. Guided by the primal instincts that began to resurface within her veins, Lythera began to walk deeper into the forest. The villagers, watching anxiously from the edge of their homes, felt a mixture of hope and apprehension. For them, the Wolf Maiden's return was no mere coincidence. It signaled that something long feared was stirring once again. Within the cradle of ancient oaks and beneath the canopy thick with the embrace of moss and wildflowers, Lythera's memories returned in waves, sharp and bittersweet. She recalled a time when Elderwood was a battlefield between mortal forces and twisted creatures known only as the Night-born, shadows that devoured light and turned even the strongest warriors into hollow shells. Lythera had stood as the forest's shield then, a beacon of hope clad in wolf fur. But betrayals sliced through her life like a poisoned dagger. A trusted ally, driven by greed and fear, had triggered a curse that shattered her mind, severing her from all she loved. Her curse had been to forget everything she was, becoming a wanderer lost in her own flesh, until the wolves, the only beings bound to her true essence, called out, their howls tearing down the walls of her amnesia. But her story was far from over. The Nightborn's shadow was rising once again, their dark tendrils spreading towards Elderwood, hungry and relentless. The villagers needed their guardian, the Wolf Maiden in full strength, to rise from the ashes of forgotten past and stand with them once more. Standing in the sacred glade, heart-pounding with a sudden surge of power, Lythera closed her eyes and called to the pack with a voice that was both wild and commanding. The wolves howled in response, their cries weaving into the ancient spell that awoke the magic within her veins. Silver light spilled from her hands and danced along the trees. Vines and roots pulsed with life, forming barriers of thorns and shadows against the creeping darkness. Her skin shimmered and fur blossomed at her wrists and shoulders, her wolf spirit reclaiming dominion over flesh. The villagers, watching from the safety of the edge, gasped in awe as the ancient protector was reborn before their very eyes. No longer a woman lost to memory but a warrior bound to the wild, Lythera stood tall, both human and beast, the eternal Wolf Maiden. In the days that followed, Elderwood prepared for the coming storm. The Nightborn advanced like a cold mist claiming the land, their forms shifting like nightmares made flesh. Yet, with Lythera leading the pack of wolves and the people united under her call, they fought back fiercely. The forest itself seemed to obey her will, entangling enemies in thorn and shadow, while her howls summoned storms and lightning against the encroaching darkness. Through battle and bloodshed, the Wolf Maiden reclaimed fragments of her past, not just memories but her soul's purpose. She was the protector, the bridge between worlds, the spirit neither fully of man nor beast. And though darkness pressed hard, hope blazed brighter. One night, beneath a sky thick with stars, Lythera stood upon the hill overlooking Elderwood, the pack resting at her side. She no longer felt the emptiness that had once plagued her mind. The wolves howled again, not out of sorrow but in joyous song, carrying her name not as a plea but as a triumphant anthem. Lythera. Lythera, she returned their howl, confident, fierce, and whole. For more stories, like and subscribe.